When you build a new construction home in Northeast Florida, there are easily hundreds of decisions that actually get made. Sometimes it honestly feels like thousands, and a lot of those decisions, they happen really fast. Now, the problem is if you say yes to some of the wrong upgrades, you really can end up spending way more money than you need to on things that honestly just don't really improve your day-to-day living. Or maybe they just don't hold value very well. I've seen it happen many times, not because buyers are careless, right? But because builders are just really good at presenting upgrades in such a way that it really makes them feel like getting those upgrades is really urgent. You kind of get that sense of like now or never. And that's really why you want to have your own representation. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 10 upgrades I tell buyers to avoid, or at least think twice about when building new construction across Northeast Florida. Now, some of these are going to be kind of obvious, but a few of them are probably going to be more nuanced. They might actually surprise you a little bit. And a couple of them really is just going to come down to your lifestyle. However, I'm going to explain the logic behind each one of those so that you can make the right call for your situation. And hey, as you're watching, the biggest thing that I want you to take away from this video is you've got to prioritize structural changes and difficult to change items. And then just be really cautious about anything that's cosmetic or just super easy to replace later on. Anyways, all right, let's get into the video. So number one, paying for easy to change items. So that'll be like your fixtures, you know, the cabinet pulls on the cabinets and the drawers, that sort of thing. This is really simple, but it's one of those that really quickly can drain your budget. It's a lot easier to change that later. You don't want to overpay the builder for it. Lighting fixtures, a lot of builders are going to try to upsell you on different upgraded lighting packages. So we're talking like chandeliers, ceiling fans, just, you know, those fancy pendant fixtures. And here's where buyers learn later. The builder's fixture choices, honestly, they can be ugly sometimes, or just not what you want long-term. There's a buyer that I know, they said that the design center lighting, it looked super great in the showroom, but when they actually moved in, they realized that they should have chosen something completely different. So the best move, in my opinion, is usually this. Pay for the builder to place the fixtures, so like get the pre-wiring and whatnot, for like your ceiling fans, any extra pendants or outlets, that sort of thing, but avoid paying the actual builder premium for the actual fixtures themselves, because after closing, you can pick up exactly what fits your style, hire a handyman or even an electrician, often for less money for those same things. And same with the like cabinetware for your pulls and those handles. This one's honestly, this is a classic, and it just makes me laugh every time because, you know, the builders, they don't include the cabinet pulls as a standard in some of these new construction homes, but they do offer them as an upgrade, and that markup really can be huge. I know I was actually just in a model the other day, and they had some beautiful hand pulls, but then I went into the move-in ready version of the home and there was none. So typically what ends up happening is after closing, it just makes more sense to have a handyman come in, install those pulls all in one day, and typically you're gonna get better quality and you can get the exact style that you want that actually fits your lifestyle. And of course, you're saving a lot of money. So if you want a clean look, but you don't want that hardware right away, ask your builder if they can do any of those small finishing details that would make the cabinets easier to open. Some might do it, some won't, but just don't assume, right? But we can always ask. Now, number two would be upgrading your insulation. Because they said it would help you, so builders will sometimes pitch like upgraded insulation like it's gonna really just dramatically change your monthly bills. But in many cases, newer homes, they're already built with solid energy standards. David Weekley is a great example. They already built their homes with saving as much energy as possible. So paying extra for the insulation anywhere in the home, it really doesn't produce a super meaningful return. And honestly, your installation, it makes more sense like in targeted areas. So for example, your garage insulation, a buyer I worked with, they wanted their garage more comfortable for like storage and different hobbies. So the insulation, it actually helped in that case. Or let's say you have a home office, you work from home, and you want a little bit of like sound control. targeted insulation in that regard can really help reduce your noise, similar to like your primary bedroom if you're sensitive to sound and you're building a layout where the bedrooms are kind of close together. So that would make sense. The sound dampening actually may be worth the discussion. However, the blanket upgrade across the entire home, not really worth it. You want to ask for specifics, ask for the measurable differences, and then just be cautious about paying for that specific upgrade. Now, number 3, this one might be a little controversial, but it is definitely a big budget killer that I have found. So a lot of model homes, they have the cabinets that go all the way up to the ceiling, which, by the way, super beautiful. I want that in my home. First chance I get, I will do it. However, I mean, we're talking the extra now, right? So sometimes you can get like the glass uppers. It's seriously, it looks good. But what a lot of buyers are realizing later is often that space is just pretty much unusable. It kind of becomes like a dust catcher. The cabinetry ends up being one of the most expensive upgrade categories right now here in Northeast Florida, right next to like your flooring. A smarter compromise that buyers like to make is just get taller cabinets. So if you have like a 36-inch cabinet, upgrade to the 42-inch because you get more usable space, or just do like a partial kind of focal upgrade, for example, around like your vent hood, instead of extending the entire kitchen if you're trying to protect your budget. Going full ceiling cabinets everywhere is definitely a fast way to blow it. So number 4 is gonna be like your built-ins and your hutches that you don't have to plan for. So like in your dining room, you can have a hutch there, your fireplace built-ins. They can really be beautiful, but they're often priced more structurally when they're structural versus when they're not. So a buyer that I know of was quoted a huge number for built-ins around a fireplace. And when they compared it to furniture options after closing, they realized they could have created a much better look in their home with quality pieces and still have the flexibility to actually change the room around later. So if you know exactly how you're gonna use it and you value that finished look, then fine, go ahead and get the upgrade. But if you're doing it because the model had it, definitely pause and think twice about it. You don't wanna just blow the budget on something like that. Now, number 5, upgrading every bathroom countertop. Builders often start with the bathrooms with really basic, durable countertop options. And when they offer things like the quartz and the granite upgrades, in some of the videos that you've seen, like my walkthroughs, that's standard. So just ask me about that first. But the practical approach here is if you're going to upgrade, consider doing it when it actually matters to you. So typically like the primary bathroom is where a lot of people want to do that kind of upgrade. Secondary bathrooms like the guest bath, the kids' rooms, most buyers really don't get the value back in that. So where bathroom money could be better spent, I would say like your comfort height toilets, if that's offered, right? Or a better shower layout for your primary bathroom. Even just like a functional storage upgrade. Again, most likely in your primary. If the secondary matters to you, then that's always an option, but you want to think about long-term value. Now, number 6, converting a bedroom into a study by removing the closet. This is one of the most common, like it sounds super smart when you're in the design studio, but buyers tend to regret that often. So builders, they'll actually offer, hey, let's turn this bedroom into a study room. And what that often means is that they'll remove a closet. Now, they'll change out the doors, and now you've reduced any kind of future flexibility. So even if you plan to really use it as an office, keeping it as a true bedroom, it's always gonna preserve the resale value of your home later on. And it just gives you more options, right? You can always convert it into a guest room, a nursery, a future teenager room like I will have at some point, just multi-generational living at its finest, basically. And I can't tell you how many buyers I've spoken to that have wished they kept their closet because they would have wanted it to be a guest room or like a guest suite setup. So my advice, pick a plan that already has a study or keep the room as a bedroom and then just use it as an office. Number 7, small patio extensions that don't actually change like the usability of it. So we're talking like those oversized sliders here. So outdoor living, that's a big thing in Northeast Florida. And a lot of people really, they relocate here because they love the size of our lots, that give you the most backyard, but you have to be strategic about it. So patio extensions, they really can be worth it if they actually dramatically change how you're gonna use the space. So I know people who they've paid significantly more money for covered extensions that truly doubled the usability of it. and it changed the way that they lived in the home. But a lot of builders, they offer like really tiny bump outs. So they cost a lot because they invoice actual roof line changes, and you don't gain a whole lot of usable space. So honestly, the smarter option is paying for a more concrete flat work if it's offered, and then adding a cover later if you want. Another thing with patio extensions would be the oversized sliding glass doors. They look amazing in models, but in real life, there are some factors here in Florida that we have to consider. So we're talking about that heat exposure, especially like west facing backyards. Now I know if you're coming down from up north, you're not gonna get this a lot, but we're talking humidity, bugs, how much wall space you might lose on the inside of the home. So some homes and lots really do make those big sliding doors perfect, but other times it could make it really expensive and impractical. So if you're really thinking about it, think about it like this. What direction does your backyard face? Are you actually going to be opening that door often? And would you rather have more wall space for more furniture and possibly, your TV placement? Hey, so on a quick note, if you're watching this video and you're thinking, I really don't even know where to start with the floor plans, the builders, I don't even know what the neighborhood makes sense for me. And that's totally normal, by the way. The first step is getting clarity on what community actually matches your lifestyle, and then what builder is gonna fit your budget the best and what floor plan works for your family. That's exactly why people from YouTube tend to reach out to me. So if you want help kind of sorting through all of that, reach out to me anytime. I'd be happy to help you and just build a simple plan, whether you're relocating into Northeast Florida or perhaps you're a local and you're just trying to buy new construction. I am here for you. There is no pressure. Reach out to me whenever you're ready. Now, number 8, this one's funny to me, is pot fillers. This one is just hilarious because, I will say they look great. They photograph good, but practically your sink is usually really close to it. And it's just another plumbing piece that could potentially, mess up in the future. And you still have to actually carry the pot back to the sink anyways to drain it, right? So, I've heard people who they bought it because they love the look, but a lot of people have admitted to me that they don't actually really use it that often. So if you love it aesthetically and you don't mind paying for it, that's definitely your choice. More power to you. But in terms of value and like practicality, usually that would be a good one to skip and save a couple of $100,000s. So number 9, this was a hard one for me because I love these, would be ceiling beams. Personally, if you want ceiling beams, I would want that in my new construction home, but a lot of builders, they offer those beams as an upgrade. And seriously, again, they look incredible, but they're usually not structural, and which means they're going to be overpriced. This is a classic do it later kind of item. Even as a DIY project, a carpenter can add that on well after closing when you know exactly how the room feels. It makes more sense to look into it then. And if you're trying to protect your budget for like the upgrades that really matter to you, this is where your money really should not go. And number 10, overspending on your exterior elevation upgrades. Now this one would really sneak up on buyers the absolute most. You can upgrade the elevation, and then you upgrade the brick, you upgrade the stone, and then the mortar color, the windows, then suddenly your small exterior choice has multiplied into a massive spend. And here's a healthy budgeting guideline a lot of buyers use. So plan on spending around 10 to 15% of the base price of your home for your upgrades, depending on the builder and incentive. So here's an example. Let's say your home is priced at $400,000. Well, 13% of that you would be doing an upgrade. So 400,000 times 0.13 equals 52 grand. That would give you a very realistic target budget. Then you factor in the incentives and decide where to spend. Now the warning here is that exterior upgrades, they really compound fast. So yeah, don't build an ugly house, right? But you also have to understand you're gonna stop noticing some of those details on the daily basis because most people, they pull into their garage and then they just walk right inside the home. So spend enough money to feel good about it, but do not let the exterior packages consume your entire upgrade budget. Now the final piece of advice I will give you, so these are all the 10 upgrades I would tell a Northeast Florida buyer to avoid or at least reconsider, especially if you're relocating here and maybe you're coming from up north. Just think twice about building that in your new construction. Now, the principle underneath all of it is very, very simple. Spend your money where it's hard to change it later, but be cautious where it's easy to upgrade it after closing. So hey, if you're planning on building here in Northeast Florida and you want help thinking through the builder choices, your community options, the different incentives, and which builder may be best for you and your family, or even how to avoid all of the expensive mistakes that you may make in the design studio, reach out to me when you're ready. I'd be happy to help. And if I missed an upgrade that you personally have seen builders like really push hard on, drop it in the comments below. I'd be interested. And if you disagree with anything that I've said, let me know. I'd love to hear and read your opinion about it. Hey, thank you so much for watching the video. If you have not already, go ahead and subscribe. Again, reach out to me just whenever you're ready. There truly is no pressure. I chose these two videos here. If you want to get a sense of some of the new construction available in Northeast Florida, this channel really is known for the new construction home tours that we feature. So go ahead and check out one of these and then go on my page, subscribe, and you can find your exact community that you may want to look more into. Y'all, truly, God bless. I'll see you in the next one.